really, and it only lasted a couple of days. So I guess I'm just struggling to keep the balance in my life. And if I lose my balance at times, I don't mind if that happens, but I'm beating myself up at the time. I'm really hating myself when I'm not being motivated and productive and enjoying life. So if I could just accept that would be fine. Or maybe just get rid of that whole phase altogether.
All right, you mentioned, Sarah, there, you mentioned the word balance.
Yeah.
Can I look at that deeper?
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with balance or coordination of any kind? I know foosball, you have to be pretty on the button, but do you have any ear infections or previously had ear infections or anything to do with a sense of coordination?
No, I guess very occasionally I might feel a bit faint. So that does sort of happen where the vision can go slightly. But it's never something I've really even thought too much about because it happens so rarely.
How are you feeling now?
Fine.
All right, would you mind then, Sarah, if I asked you to do a little test just by standing?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's just, because what's happened here is that the word for me is, not balancing well. And what Sarah may well be doing, I don't know at this stage, she may be telling me that there's a problem with coordination and balance, and that can upset the nervous system and create anxiety. So let's just test that, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look after you, I'll make sure you're safe. So if you'd like to stand there, and if you just face forward, what I'd like you to do, Sarah, is to close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And are you comfortable with where your feet are?
Yeah.
I'd like you, and I'm going to make sure that you do not fall over, I'd like you just to balance on one leg.
Okay.
How do you feel there?
A bit wobbly.
A bit wobbly, okay. Now the other one. That one's not so good, would it be fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I need to see actually, Sarah. You safe?
Yep.
Okay, if you can sit back down. And again, the word for me was a kind of not being balanced. And remember, we're constantly saying that no word is accidental. So that could be very significant. And you were less balanced when balancing on the left leg.
Yep.
So let's work on that just for a moment to see where we can go. So what I'd like you to do, Sarah, you're familiar with the tapping.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I'm not feeling safe, because there's something going on in my inner ear. I'm not sure what it is. But I'm now going to address it. And allow it to correct itself. Now again, because that's a long word construction, I'm only going to do the one instead of the three. And now, Sarah, poor balance. Poor sense of safety. It creates anxiety. It creates anxiety. It creates anxiety. Poor balance. Poor balance. Poor balance. And we'll do the fingers as well, Sarah. Poor balance. Don't feel safe. Poor balance. Poor balance. Poor balance. Now, Sarah, just take a breath again and just assess if you have anything happening up here at all.
Yeah, I've started thinking a lot more about in my life that I actually feel quite unsafe about.
Give us a few examples.
Well, I guess, again, it's sort of being self-employed, there's always that insecurity in the business. And I'm also, the living situation that I'm in actually is a little bit unstable, which only, my flatmate's planning on moving out, so I have to find somewhere to live, basically. And that only came up the other day, but I'm actually wondering whether I felt that sort of lack of a base in my life, maybe.
Okay.
Before, yeah.
So you're even using the gestures of being unbalanced.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's work on that just for a moment and see where we can get with that. So you don't have to keep doing the karate chop, because once you've done the setup, you don't have to keep doing that. So I'd like you to start from this point. Off balance.
Off balance.
I don't know where I'm going.
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 I'm uncertain.
I'm uncertain.
It's not the first time.
It's not the first time.
I've felt uncertain for most of my life.
I've felt uncertain for most of my life.
Now, I'll ask you a question there, Sarah. How true is that?
I feel like it's more... Yeah, no, actually, yeah, it's true. I was gonna say it's more within the last 5 or so years, but potentially, yeah.
All right. Don't feel safe.
Don't feel safe.
Poor balance.
Poor balance.
In every area of my life.
In every area of my life.
I'm back here now, Sarah, because I want to just focus on the frontal cortex. Poor balance.
Poor balance.
And now back here, just to stimulate here, because I want to really hit the inner ear. I want to see what's happening in the gyro inside the ear. Poor balance.
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 Okay, Sarah, we'll do that test again and
Okay.
I'll look after you, so don't worry. So do the leg that you felt safest on first.
Okay.
Okay, now the other one. Okay, how do you feel on that?
Pretty balanced.
Okay, right. Okay, Sarah, that's good. So you felt that there was a difference there?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Sit down. That's because what's happening when we have anxiety and we feel unsafe, the brain is constantly monitoring where we are in space and time. So we have the sense receptors. So in terms of our physical body and our emotional well-being, what's happening here is it's constantly assessing where we are. Now, of course, you think about that in terms of the emotional words and structures that Sarah was using. That's what I was reading. That there's something going on here. And if I didn't address that first, then the other issues that we're going to follow through with would be more difficult, harder to pinpoint. So I've just checked to see what was going on here with Sarah. And does that make sense to you, Sarah, in terms of...
Yeah. Well, I thought that was quite incredible, actually, just how safe and balanced I did feel then. That's so different to when you first did it. Yeah.
Well, good. So now we're getting a clearer insight. Mind, body, body, mind. And we have all these sensors around us. And our emotional state and how we feel. If we feel fear and anxiety, then that's going to impact on every area of our, not just our brain. We think sometimes too much about the brain, but it's the physical body as well. So that's what we're looking at here. So that's something now that you can do for yourself now, Sarah, from this point on. And you can do that little test. Now, when I'm working with more serious issues, I will do further tests. This is just a very simple test that anybody can do themselves. But do bear in mind that it's not unusual to have a little bit of insecurity, but it's the level of insecurity that you're feeling here. So if you're going all over the place, then there's something wrong. And for Sarah, it was very clear that one side was much better than the other. Now what we've done is we've balanced both sides. So now we can continue with the other issues and see if there's any underlying, perhaps even getting back now to a root cause. So we have to look at, did the root cause perhaps create the imbalance in here? Or did she have ear infections as a child? Is there any difficulty in terms of translation of what she receives from the ears, the sense of sound that goes into the prefrontal cortex to be understood clearly? So I'm looking for all those things all the time. Is there anything you'd like to ask, Sarah?
No.
Okay, that's good. So let's just remind everybody where we were, which was that motivation, and you said you've had anxiety. That was the one as well that's important.
Yeah.
So again, you're identifying that this could go back a long way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
And again, if it involves other people, don't name them, of course. But do you have any idea where this might go back to?
No, that's why I wanted to say that I feel like it was quite recent, this idea that my life is so imbalanced. I'm either extremely productive or I lose it straight away. I feel like is a learned behaviour from quite recent, because I'm quite good at sort of trying to look back and do this myself, but I just can't see anything.
Right.
From childhood.
Did you notice Sarah's gestures? I'm in control or I lose it. And again, it was the same side where she wasn't balanced.
Right.
She loses it over here. And that's the side she couldn't balance on.
Right.
Were you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware of what I'm doing.
Okay, we'll change that.
Yeah.